Hello, and welcome to Paint a Beautiful Picture. My name is Violet Newby. I would like to share just a little bit about myself. I am a mom, a grandmother. I'm a registered nurse who has taken care of women and children for over 35 years. I have been a teacher for a very long time. I have taught everyone from preschoolers to preteens and teenagers to adults at the university level. I am the author and the developer of a series of character building ideas for parenting. And what I would love to share with you is how you can be a more effective parent with healthier and happier children. So please come and join me on this journey in painting a beautiful picture in your child's life. Once again, let me welcome you to Paint a Beautiful Picture. Yesterday, we talked about maturity, a really difficult topic, acknowledging how mature or immature we are, and then taking action in order that we might become more mature. Yeah, that's some really tough stuff. I just want to admit that to you right off the bat. Today, we're going to talk about some of the ways that that plays out. I've heard a lot of people say, yeah, I didn't sign up for this. This is nothing like I thought. Whether that's being married or having a child or a certain kind of a job, a relationship. Do you know what? No joke. Most of the time, we don't get what we thought we signed up for. We have all these preloaded expectations and ideas and even dreams. But real life, yeah, it's really often nothing like what we had in our head. Let's be truthful. And that could be really disappointing and really frustrating and sometimes outright sad, and it might even make us angry. You can own up to all your emotions, but you don't have to be a jerk because you're feeling angry or because you're being frustrated. And you don't need to be a little witch because you're sad. Okay? I really want to say that to you. That's maturity. All right. So we'll talk about marriage or relationship. Okay, so this guy called you up, or you saw this gorgeous little chickie walk by you and went, whoa, I got to have me some of that. I'm not talking in an appropriate way, or maybe it was, but just, yeah, that looks good. I'm going to go after that. Okay, so you end up with this guy, you end up with this chick, and 6 months later, you're like, yeah, this isn't what I was thinking, right? But you chose. You chose to ask that girl out. You chose to say yes when he did ask you out. You chose to hook up. You made a choice. Own up, okay? I made that choice. It may not have been a good choice. It may have had a really unexpected outcome, but yes, I made that choice, okay? Just want to say that to you. So maybe you're married. Like, whoa, dude, this is so not what I thought, okay? But listen, you bought that white dress. You walked down that aisle. Those were your lips moving, saying you were going to, right? You bought that tuxedo, my man. You stood there excited, and those were your lips saying those words. You made a choice. It may not have been a well informed choice, it might have been an immature choice. It might have been not the best choice of your life, but you chose this. Okay? I really want you to get this straight in your mind. You're going to understand in just a few more minutes. When you have a child, okay, whether it's with this guy that you just met a few months ago and you hooked up and now suddenly here you are and you're pregnant, or you've been married a couple of years and you chose, you made plans and preparations and you're pregnant, you could definitely say, wow, this is not what I thought. Of course not. Your body's getting all pulled out of joint. As a guy, you might go, whoa, I never knew anything about stretch marks, and I didn't know a pregnant woman was so cranky and so weird, and yet, you really have to learn how to say, I chose this. Less you got raped, then it's another story. But other than that, you better learn to say, I chose this. And if you have 2 or 3 or 4 babies running around in your space, my friend, you chose this. The first time, okay, I'm going to cut you some slack. After that, sorry, there's no slack for you. You did choose this. And now, do you know what? All those little people, they're depending on you. So you got to get a hold of yourself. The reason I want you to learn to use that language, I chose this, not only is it mature, but it's responsible. So instead of blaming everybody else and blaming the situation and blaming the world and blaming that person you live with and blaming the kids, there's no blame, but there is responsibility. I chose this. Okay? It's very empowering for you to acknowledge I chose this. Okay? Now you can say, and I mean you can say it loudly, maybe not to your kids, but to your significant other, to your spouse, to your mama, maybe even, to someone you barely know, like a counselor, but I didn't expect this. You can say that. I give you full permission. Whoa, I didn't expect I was never going to get any sleep again for 2 or 3 years. I didn't expect that. I didn't expect I was never going to get to have sex again. Like, whoa, my wife is so weird since she had the baby. And oh my word, my husband doesn't really like my body anymore. And whoa, I never expected any of this. Okay, you can say all that. You can. I get it. Let me tell you, if I ever really told you my story, you'd be freaking out how much I understand. I didn't expect this. Really, I get it. Okay? Life has a lot of unexpected things in it. I mean, a couple years ago, a friend of mine told her grandson, I don't want you going out tonight. But he was 19 years old. He had a car, he had a driver's license. He went and picked up his girlfriend. 23 minutes later, he was dead. Who expects that? Really, I mean it. Do you think anybody got up that morning and he said, well, I expect by nighttime I'm going to be dead? But do you think she said, I expect when he leaves this house and I don't really have a good feeling about it, in 23 minutes he's going to die? A lot of things happen we never expect, okay? I mean, oh my word. Life can have some devastating stuff in it. I am not denying that to you. But you have to say, but I'm going to deal with this. Okay? I didn't expect this, but I am going to deal with this. Let me put this into some real terms for you. Okay? As a parent, as a spouse, as a friend, as a lot of things. Okay? We have this ideal picture in our mind of what life looks like. And then there's reality. And we all know reality and what we think, they don't line up so much. And the distance between those things is called, in psychology, dissonance. It gives us internal conflict. It gives us external, uncomfortableness, and sometimes right to driving us frantic out of our mind. The closer those two things come together, the calmer we are. And sometimes we can never get them together. I really admit that to you, okay? But when we start to admit to ourselves, I chose this, that'll bring us a little closer. When we admit really truthfully, I didn't expect this. And sometimes part of I didn't expect this is I'm not handling this very well. I thought I was more mature than this, but oh, let me tell you, I'm not handling this well. Okay? Again, just that acknowledgement within yourself and to another person, it's empowering. It'll bring you a little bit closer. And when you really learn to say with conviction, I'm gonna deal with this, it even brings you closer. Okay? Now, how are you going to deal with it? That's a legit question. And that's the one you and I are going to start dealing with really strongly in the parenting realm. Okay? How in the world am I going to deal with this? All right. So let me take you through a few phases of life. So, whichever one you're in, maybe I'll hit something relevant for you and increase your hunger to learn more. So, you're pregnant. Okay? Let's take a good scenario, in my opinion. You're married and pregnant. You have a pretty stable environment with your spouse. Where you live is okay. And you have enough money to manage. All right? But still, your body's going nuts. Your emotions are kind of out of control. There's definitely some conflict in your relationship with your mate. And you say, I chose this. I didn't expect this. I'm going to deal with this. Okay. I'm going to own up to my emotions and I'm going to tell, my mate that I'm not doing that great and it's a whole lot more than I thought. And I need you to be supportive and I need you to just stand here and I need you to confront me when I act really junky and out of line. Like, just don't let me get away with being a jerk here. And let's work through this. Yeah, I'm going to deal with this. Okay. Whoa, the baby's coming. All right. Or you have a newborn baby or one under 6 months old and you're not getting any sleep. And this baby yells a lot more than you thought, and diapers and bottles, and oh my, everything costs so much more than you ever dreamt or imagined. You're like, wow, okay. Let's face it, in today's world, you could have had an abortion. We're not talking about thinking that's okay, but I'm just saying to you, we all know it. I chose this. I chose to have a baby. Okay, that's a good start. I didn't expect this. That's honest. I am going to deal with this. Whether that means one evening a week, I call my mama and I say, Mama, we need to just like go out and have a cup of coffee and get away for 2 hours and have some, a little bit less frantic time. Okay, cool. Or I don't really have anybody in my world who's going to give me a break. So we're going to have to learn how to put the baby in a jumpy seat or take him for a long ride around the block 10 times, maybe an hour's worth, but at least we'll be able to talk and hang out. You've got to have a way to deal with it. Okay? So you have a 3 or a 4-year-old. They're really out of control. You didn't have a plan. You haven't done anything yet in terms of discipline or teaching that child responsibility for his own attitudes and actions. And so you say, whew, I didn't mean it. I promise you. I wasn't thinking ahead, but I chose this. I didn't expect this. And I'm going to deal with this. Okay, good deal. I mean, I'm awesome. And I'm excited that you're making this decision. And I'm going to help you get through this. Okay? So, I'm going to start developing a plan. I'm going to start doing an honest assessment of my own life and my parenting skills or lack thereof. And yep, I'm going to start dealing with this. And in a couple of years from now, maybe even in 6 months to a year, it's going to look a lot different than it does right this minute. And I'm going to get through this. And I'm going to love my child through this. Yep, I'm going to deal with this. So you have an 8 or a 9 or a 10-year-old. And oh, wow, you struggled with being a parent. You've been a decent parent, maybe not the world's greatest parent, and still so many things you never imagined are going on with your child. Again, I chose this. I didn't expect this. I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to give you a really good illustration. I know a guy who had a daughter, because she's now a young woman, but when she was 12 years old, daddies, hold on to your hats for me. One day he went into her room and he said, Baby, what in the world are you doing on that computer? She slammed that laptop lid down. She goes, Absolutely nothing. He said, Hand me your laptop. Oh, she wouldn't do it. I mean, she tried to break it in half. She was not going to give this to her dad. This girl was on a kid porn site showing her body off to people at 12 years old. She didn't even have breast buds yet. But she's playing around with all these like 30 and 40-year-old perverts. He freaked out so hard. You talk about, I didn't expect this. Whoa, helped me a lot. Yeah, this was a real challenging one to get through, I tell you, as a counselor. You know what? I don't care what story you need to tell me. You can get through it. You really can. Now, I'm going to tell you, because this is my belief system. Okay? I'm not shoving this down your throat. I'm just stating it. It's a whole lot easier to get through it with God's help. That's all I have to say on the subject. But you can get through it. Okay? So you have this teenager. I mean, they're rebellious. They're out of control. They're wild and crazy. They're doing drugs. They're having sex. They're drinking like crazy. They are just making you lose your mind, right? Which we all know teenagers can do. But remember, you chose to have a child. I chose this. Okay. I didn't expect this. I've been really moral and upright, and I don't do all this stuff. I don't even know where my kid found these friends or these people who were influencing him or the stuff that he or she got into. I don't even know about that. I really didn't expect this. How am I going to deal with it? Well, there's a really good question I'm going to be able to help you with. But you know what? I am going to deal with this. Okay, so I hope you really get your hands around these tools. And I want you to write it down today. Here's your challenge. What did I choose? Write down, I chose this. What did I choose? And admit it. I chose this. Then, what didn't I expect? Remember, I told you how this journal needs to be private? Right here. This is why. What didn't I expect? You don't need other people in your stuff reading it. Maybe in time you'll tear this page out so nobody gets their hands on it. Really, you know what? That's okay. But somewhere, admit, what didn't I expect? Put it down. And I'm going to deal with this. You can literally write down. Right now, I don't have a clue how I'm going to deal with this, but I am going to deal with this. Okay. So you're starting to get a feel of why we need to spend some time together. There's a lot to do and a lot to learn in being a good parent. But I want you to know I learned, and I have confidence that you can learn too. You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker, all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.